G'day,
Whoa.
greeters. Welcome to the Shitty Kitty Kitchen, and in particular, welcome to special guest Glenn, who's been in lockdown for 37 years.
137.
How are you doing? How are you coping? What are you doing are you working from home? What's,
Yeah, actually, well, I'm
oh, how are you doing?
always working from home.
Coping. What are you doing sorry, I just had to mute my YouTubes because I've got to read YouTube for chat. Hi, Deb, who's joined us. So sorry. How are you? How are you coping?
Yeah, good and bad days, really. I'm the sort of person that likes getting out and about and experiencing stuff, and not being able to do that is it's really difficult and
Testing.
tricky. Yes, I've got my
That's
little pup. He keeps me company. He keeps me kind of sane. Um, he's sort of, when I'm thinking, stuff that I can't be bothered, he's like, take me for a walk. So,
well. I think we haven't had a lockdown in Tassie, as you know, but I think the
yeah,
world over, people that have pets refer to them as their therapy, their lockdown therapy animals. So
no, there was a bit of a bit of a funny, was it an ABC something or other? I don't know, but it was like, there was this news flash. It was like, COVID alert. It's like dogs are now ready to start revolting because they're sick of being taken for walks.
well, cats are sick of humans being in their houses. Just saying hello to a few people in chat. So we've got lovely Ruth. Now, Ruth lives in the UK, so she's
cracking up a little bit, but hang on, I might do that. That might
make it better.
might. I don't know.
Hope so. You sound better now because you're closer to it. You're a bit? I mean, we can hear you, but it is better with you that close. I'll just say hello to a few people. Hi, Scout. Hi, Ruth. Um, Ruth saying, "Oh my God, this is so early," because she's in London, so she knows all about lockdowns. Well, she's in the UK. She knows all about lockdowns. But Glenn and I have taken on quite a challenge today. We're doing 3 dishes, 2 dishes each. We're both going to be making a keto lasagna, and the recipes are all in the description. So, weirdly, I'm going to be starting with the lasagna because Glenn has already done some prepping for that. So I'm going to do that so hopefully we can catch up a bit. And then while I'm making that, Glenn's going to be making a keto chocolate cake. And then we're going to flip. So then Glenn's going to get on with making his lasagna, which you probably won't need to chat too much about the process. You can, but they'll have an idea of how that all works. And then I'm going to be making some keto old-fashioned keto cake donuts. So there's a lot going on. And the lasagna, now Glenn chose, hi Anne-Marie, good to see you, gorgeous. Glenn gave 2 options. One was a keto lasagna, the other was a keto meat pie. I've made the meat pie a few times. I wanted to try the lasagna without realising, holy fuck, there's quite a lot of processes. But you've made it before, so it's clearly worth the work, right?
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's really only the pasta sheets that are a bit. This isn't working. I'm going to flip again. The pasta sheets.
That's kind of cool. You're doing little 360s.
The pasta sheets are probably the hardest process. I mean, the meat,
yeah, everything else is good.
Yeah, for want of a better word, the bolognese.
Yeah.
Which is what you would have in a traditional lasagna, is actually very simple.
Yeah, and so is the cheese and sour cream. But if you've got any tips while I'm making because I've never made this before, while I'm making the lasagna sheets, if you've got any tips, you let me know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cheat. My trick is this little beauty I bought from
Ah,
Peter's Peter's in Kensington.
mm,
This gorgeous baking sheet, which is a USA pan and a
yeah.
silicon mat, rather than the baking paper. I mean, you use the baking paper on top to get it all, gorgeous and the right thickness and all that. But when I made it, I used this, and it really it made my life a hell of a lot easier because I
Glenn,
have.
that's like the worst tip. It's not like I can just run out and buy one of those right now. Your tip sucks.
What I suggest is spray a little bit of olive oil on the baking paper because
I'll
the
be
amount of cheese and stuff
It needs
that
a bit of something.
otherwise it gets a little bit tricky to sort of get it off.
All right. Well, I'm going to set up. Hey, Chrissy. Hi to everyone else rolling in. We've got a bit of a Sunday afternoon in Australia bake-off. My lovely friend Glenn's been in lockdown in Sydney forever. And we're going to be doing 3 keto-friendly dishes. We're making a keto lasagna, a keto chocolate cake, and keto donuts. But I'm actually going to lower my camera and do a bit of bench cam so people can watch some action happening on the bench. And I'll just try and there's a slight delay on YouTube, so I'm going to lower it down, but I'll just wait till YouTube catches up to see. Actually, you can probably see the screen, Glenn. Is that focused on a bowl of eggs?
That's focused on a pile of eggs.
Now, anyone who's ever done keto will know that this is pretty much keto in a bowl. This is how many eggs you have a day on keto. Well, not quite, but you go through a shitload of eggs, don't you?
You do. You absolutely do.
So one of the things that Glenn's done already for me to catch up is I need to beat 8 eggs. So that's what I'm going to do first.
Oh, just as a side note, I've decided to bump my recipe up a little bit because I've got a huge lasagna pan and I also had a kilo of minced beef.
Okay.
So the beauty about the Diet Doctor website is that you can adjust the recipe to fit whatever ingredients that you have. So you can have 2 serves, 8 serves, 12 serves, whatever it is that you do. Because when I do a lot of the keto baking stuff, I tend to freeze a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
So eat a little bit, freeze a little bit, and that just takes me off the hook of having to cook every night. So my partner is doing a lot of work as well. So he comes home and can kick into the freezer and grab something without too much problem.
I lost count, but I think that was 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, well, my recipe is not that. I mean, it's the same recipe, but my portion is just a little bit more. I think I've got 12 eggs. So
so that's 8. That's 8 eggs in there now. A couple of the other 6 I'm using for my donuts. So I'll just give them a quick beat. Get those beaten first. There'll be a bit of noise pollution for a quick second.
No, right. I've got the chef's aid out because
Grandma's old-fashioned beaters, by the way.
Yeah, I've got the chef aid happening.
Now, Glenn, you were just talking about the size of your lasagna dish, and I'm doing the recipe for 6 servings. If I show you this dish, can you tell me if it's too big? Oops.
Yeah, that's about the same size as mine.
There's my teacup to give you a bit of. That's too big, do you reckon?
No, that's probably a bit small. Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
All right.
Mine's fairly big. And I
Okay.
just felt like the 6, sorry, what is it, 6 or 8 serves?
Yeah, you might be doing the 8 serves. I'm thinking mine is probably about the same size as yours, but my next dish down is pretty shallow. So what does Ruth say? Tip, when your neighbour asks for oil, don't give them the decent olive oil without checking she isn't making Play-Doh.
Yeah, I just
Did you know
I
that
felt like
tip?
I needed a bit more of the keto pasta sort of thing. So,
Well, look, I'm just going to try it. This is the dish I've got. Did you hear Ruth's tip about don't give your neighbours your best olive oil because they make Play-Doh with it? And lovely Deb in chat says she loves your apron, Glenn.
oh, thank you. My brother bought this in, I think, in Germany when he went over to Europe for a bit of a. Gosh, those days, where the hell have they gone?
Travelling.
Yeah, what's that?
All right. I'm going to just let everyone know I'm tracking on the oven to 150 degrees Celsius. We're making the lasagna sheets. Or if you're a Fahrenheit person, it's 300 Fahrenheit. So I'm just going to chuck the oven onto 150. And then the next thing you need to do is line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Now, this is, in fact, the only thing I've done in preparation. Well, no, I've got everything I need to use out, but so there's my parchment paper, or some people would call this baking paper. Hello, El Marco Chinko. How you doing, Groover? Are you out of lockdown now in Victoria? I've lost track, I have to admit. I don't know what's happening. I just know that Glenn is still trapped.
Indeed. Now I'm just going to make a bit of noise pollution.
Good work. That actually isn't too bad. Oh no, El Marco Chinko, he's got the Lockdown Blues Volume 6. Now you've got to tell everyone what you're mixing over there, Glenn, in your KitchenAid. Glenn? Yep. What are you mixing up there in your
Sorry.
KitchenAid? You've got to.
Oh, sorry. I'm just following you, Tori. That's the eggs. So I've got
Oh,
12
so
eggs in
you're
there.
doing the lasagna too. You're not going to do the cake.
Oh, well, I might as well.
All right. Cool.
When this is in the oven, I can whip the cake up. So
Exactly.
because it's all ready to go. Really, I just got to add the wet ingredients. So
Yeah.
I'll just go through the ingredients and put it together. And yeah. So
Scouting, it's hard because I can't see your face. So I don't know if you're about to talk. So people watching, don't think I'm deliberately talking over the top of Glenn. My camera is pointing into a bowl, as you can see. But Scout Inquirer wants to know if you've got a YouTube channel or Instagram, Glenn.
I do have Instagram, but I very rarely use it.
Right.
Facebook's more my Facebook and YouTube are my social media preferences.
Right.
But yeah.
So I've got a KitchenAid too, and because we're going to be mixing up some cream cheese, would you say it's better to chuck it in the KitchenAid, or can you do it by hand?
I've never done it in the KitchenAid. I hardly ever get to use it, and I spent so much money on it. I thought, bugger it, I'm going to use it today.
Yeah, because I can always chuck I might try by hand. If it's too hard, I'll stick it in. So we're going to put in all the ingredients for our lasagna sheet, starting up with the 8 eggs that we've beaten. Well, I'll do the quantities because everyone knows you're doing a slightly bigger version, but this is the sort of standard recipe for feeding. It's 6 servings. So the eggs go in. Next in, we're going to put 280 grams of cream cheese, and 1 block of cream cheese is 250 grams. So you're going to need a block and a bit. I'm using the Philadelphia, exactly the same as Glenn. Because I don't know if you've seen it in the shops, Glenn, but I tried a Coles Philadelphia, and it just wasn't the same.
No, you can get these in a tub, and you can get cooking Philly. But to tell you the truth, this was on special at Coles, so I just figured I'll grab it because there seems to be quite a large amount of it in the recipe. So.
Oh yeah, because you'll be needing a bit more, but
yeah,
Philly always gets.
I'm basically doing the same process, but my measurements are just a little bit bigger.
Now, with my cooking, I am a bit of a guesstimator. I'm not overly precious, so when it says 280 grams, we've already got 250, so 30 grams for anyone who wants to know how to guesstimate is about the same size as those beautiful old-fashioned matchboxes. Remember them? So if you want to visualise 30 grams, think of a matchbox. Marco Chinko says he's been using the time to do some cooking. He made a bolognese sauce from scratch. Ooh. And a 7-hour simmer a week ago. That sounds good.
Very nice.
He's had his first, so he's having the AZ. I've had my second Pfizer, and the only thing that happened was I grew a tail.
You grew a tail?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what everyone's carrying on about.
No, either do I. Really? I did hear from a friend that a certain person in her circle wouldn't wear masks because there's chemicals in it, and he wouldn't get the vaccination because he didn't know the chemical makeup of what the vaccination was. And the thing that I find really funny is it's not really a meme, but somebody posted on Facebook the chemical makeup of an apple, and It was a text message to a person who was against vaccination or against putting chemicals in their body, and they said, "Would you put this in your body?" And I said, "Oh, hell no." And he said, "Are you absolutely sure?" "Absolutely sure." And he said, "Well, that's the chemical makeup of an apple." Anyway, I've been double vaccinated. I had a bit of a sore arm and felt probably a little lethargic the next day. That was it.
Yeah.
No big drama. In fact, the actual needle, I didn't feel at all.
The second one, I didn't feel either of them, but I don't mind needles. But my arm was sore after my first shot, but my second shot, I barely had any issues with my arm. But I did get really fatigued for about 24 hours. But other than that, good to go. But just on that thing about the apple, I love my friends who are standing there sucking on a cigarette, saying they won't, not my friends, but people that are sucking on a cigarette on YouTube saying they're not going to get vaccinated. And it's like, you actually know the chemicals that are in a cigarette, but you're still having that. And also, you probably dabbled in some drugs in your youth, bit of ecstasy or whatever. Did you know what the chemical makeup of those things were?
Precisely.
I know Scout is asking, she wants to follow you, Glenn. I think, Scout, you've got a new fan. Because now she wants to know if you have a Facebook channel called Glenn and Friends Cooking.
I don't yet, but I certainly might.
Next up to the egg and the filly that I've just broken up a bit. I don't think I'm going to be able to whisk it. I'll be chucking mine in my KitchenAid too, but you need to add a teaspoon of salt.
Oh, okay. Thanks for reminding me.
So you might want to bump yours up a little bit.
Yes, I've got some. I've got the adjusted recipe right next to me. So.
And then the last thing we're going to be adding is this thing, which is called Psyllium Husk. Now, I did do a little bit of Googling about Psyllium Husk, and one of its benefits is it's a really gentle and effective source of dietary fibre. So they say that even if you sprinkle it over yogurt, fruit, cereals, that sort of stuff, and also hardcore people drink it. It's a bit like a natural, I don't know, maybe Metamucil is natural, but it's like a natural product that can help with digestive issues.
Metamucil is basically psyllium husk with orange flavouring.
You've got psyllium husk with orange flavouring?
Yeah.
Is that going to go in your lasagna?
No, God no.
Well, you had me wondering.
I just got the plain. I got the plain one for that. Well, I'm going to give this a go while you. Whoa.
We need to add, using my recipe, 50 grams of the ground psyllium husk. So I'm just going to measure that. Glenn's already getting on with the blending. I cooked along with a couple of MasterChef contestants about 6 weeks ago, and
Did you?
it was great fun. That's a bit over 50. I'm a bit precious with things like this, because this is sort of going to be the floury part of the lasagna sheets. So now
it binds it all together, really. Otherwise, you've just got cheese and egg. I mean, the egg once it's cooked, like an omelette, will sort of hold, but it's very delicate. So the psyllium husk just makes it a little bit more stable.
Alrighty. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to try whisking it into a smooth batter. But what you need, I'm KitchenAiding it. I already know that. But basically, I'm going to pop over to my KitchenAid. But you can see Glenn in action. What we do is whack it into the KitchenAid or your mixer using the whisk attachment, which I need to get. And then you gradually add the psyllium husk while you're whisking. And then we're going to set it aside and leave it for a couple of minutes. So I'll be over at KitchenAid. I'll be back in a minute.
Right, I'm just going to scrape mine down a little bit. Let's make sure it's all in there. Another go.
Just going to see if Glenn, is yours completely smooth, or do you have a few filly lumps in it? Oh, I don't think you heard me.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Glenn, is yours completely smooth, or do you have some little filly lumps in it?
No. Oh, probably very vaguely. Mine's actually quite smooth.
All right, I'll give.
I did leave my filly. I got my filly out first thing this morning, so it's been.
Yeah, mine's at room temperature as well, and so are the eggs. I might just give mine a bit more of a whirl. You can hang out with the groomers in chat if you like.
Cool. Right. Yeah, that's the end result. That's pretty smooth.
All right. Also, a quick hello to anyone over on Facebook. The link to the YouTube channel is in the chat on Facebook land. I don't jump back over to Facebook very often, so feel free to come over and hang out with us over on YouTube. Hi, Sandra. Sandra's just arrived. She says hello to you too, please.
Hey.
Now, once you've made the batter, we're going to set it aside for a few minutes. I guess it just lets it settle a bit, does it, Glenn?
It allows for the psyllium husk to do its thing because it really soaks a lot of moisture, so that the psyllium husk will expand and it'll turn into a batter. So if it's a little bit sloppy, or you think it's a little bit sloppy, it will actually thicken before your eyes.
Well, my batter looks very similar to yours, Glenn. Scrape the remaining bit of husk off the sides, but
yeah, I did that and then gave it another whirl. That's looking pretty good.
looks all right.
Yep.
Look, I think we've got matching batters in a way, haven't we?
I think so. Mine's looking. Looking very
anyway,
similar.
just to set it aside for a couple of minutes. So while that's just sitting over there, we'll get our baking trays. Glenn's already showed off that he's got a much better baking concept than me because I'm using my tried, tested and true baking tray. Now, look, it does look like it's been charred within an inch of its life, and it was. Many years ago, my ex and I were going to cook something. We put this in, it was still in the oven. We had to suddenly go around and see my dad and help him with some stuff. And when we came home, we were like, far out, what's cooking? And it was this baking tray, which used to have little red things there on the end. They used to be red. But my God, it has been the best baking tray ever. So please don't think I'm using something I found in the hard rubbish. This is a very loved
My sister-in-law
tray.
had a similar pan, like with little silicon handles, and
yeah,
they have been through the ringer and out again, but they've held up. Every time I go down at Christmas time, there's like dozens and dozens of sausage rolls and God knows what else that are made on them.
Yep. And they're a ripper. That's the thing. They're beautifully seasoned because those little red bits that is silicon that survived. I can still see the brand. It was Circulon.
Right. Yeah, I don't think this was Circulon, but very similar design.
So now we've done that. Do you reckon that batter's been sitting long enough, Glenn?
Yep. Mine's quite thick, actually, so I'm thinking it's good to go. I'm going to do mine in 2 batches because I think
because you're making a bigger.
I think that's what needs to happen.
So basically, what we're doing for people rocking up, going, "What
Even
the
though
hell
my
are they
buddy
doing?"
tray is
We're
large,
making. Oh, sorry, Glenn.
No, you're right.
What we're doing for anyone who's just arrived, we're cooking keto. So we're making a lasagna, and keto, you don't have carbs. So instead of using lasagna sheets, we're actually making our own, but obviously it's not a pasta sheet with flour in it. We're using psyllium husk, eggs, salt, and Philadelphia cream cheese to try and make pasta sheets.
Now, Tori, I'm going to just spray my my top baking paper with a bit of olive oil because every time I've done something similar like this, it always sticks, particularly the keto pizza, which has a similar process.
Right.
You make the base out of cream cheese, psyllium husk, and eggs. But I'm thinking...
So is that going to go face down?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I only use coconut oil.
It does say to use a rolling pin, but I find it easier just to use my hands to start with.
Right.
Spread it across the whole tray.
See, look, El Marco Chinko, like, he's got, he said his kitchen pans and utensils, if they don't have burn scars on them, they're not his. So I'm just going to spray mine as well. And then literally popping the second piece on top and the spray is on the downside. And like Glenn said, it does mention a rolling pin, but it's a bit of fun to use your hands, isn't it?
It is.
Although mine's pretty thick too, so I am actually going to push it out a bit with a lime muddler. I don't own a rolling pin. I mean, I do, but it doesn't work. I use my Cointreau lime muddler.
I've got 2. This is my little Kmart one.
Now, we kind of want it to go right, like cover the whole tray, don't we? Is that what we're aiming for?
Yeah, you want it to be an even thickness and about roughly the same thickness as, maybe a bit thicker than pasta because of the delicate nature of it anyway. But
when you keep saying delicate, I'm starting to worry.
Once it's cooked, it's fine. It's like a piece of rubber, like a piece of pasta.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just getting it to the right thickness and the right shape. Can be a bit of a little bit ordinary, but yeah, once it's cooked, it's easy to work with.
Deb's asked if I'm back on keto. No, not 100%, Deb, but I've always kept cooking keto, even when I went off it. Like, I still do a keto dish every now and then, because there are quite a few that I love. Like Glenn was mentioning a pizza that he's made where he's used parchment paper, but there's a recipe that I love for pizza, and the base is simply grated cheese and egg. And you mix it together and spread it out on a tin and then bake it. And then it comes out and it's super crispy. And then you put your toppings on it and more cheese. And it goes back in the oven. I'm really struggling to stop it from going out the side.
Yeah, me too. But, you know, you can always trim that off.
Oh, okay. It's quite the process.
Isn't it?
So if you've got a bit on the edges, you just slice that off, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I try to do, particularly with a rectangle piece like this, baking dish is just try to sort of like do a bit of a rectangle splodge and then sort of work it out. So hopefully it doesn't, even though it already has, gone to the very edges. But
I'm
it's all good.
I'm using a glass now. It's helping me get it out to the edges. Although this excess bit's a bit of a worry. I don't know where to put it.
I haven't quite got a absolute rectangle, but I'm gonna go with what I've got. Might keep that paper for my next run because I've got 2 sheets that I want to do. But that's kind of basically it. You know, and it doesn't have to go into the baking the lasagna pan like, you know, perfectly. You can cut it into, I mean, when you buy lasagna sheets anyway, they're small. They're not the exact size of the lasagna pan. So I reckon that's good to go. And yeah, you've got to watch it like a hawk because it's basically egg and cheese. So it will cook and burn very quickly.
Oh, okay.
And I have a pretty pretty fiery oven, even at 150 degrees Celsius. It can cook because it's fan forced. It can cook and burn very quickly. So I'm going to put mine in.
That's an interesting comment that you just made because this recipe, the temperature doesn't say if it's fan forced or not. So I'm wondering if, you know, it should be more like 140 with a fan forced.
Yeah, no, it actually says 150 degrees C. So I reckon probably even a bit lower.
Well, I usually take 10 off.
If you've got a fan forced?
Yes. I've got a fan hoist.
Fan foist. Yeah, no. Funny thing with the keto cooking is because there's such a high fat content, it will, and of course the ingredients as well. You're not using flours; you're using things like almond flour and stuff like that, which cooks really, really quickly.
I'm chucking mine in the oven. Otherwise, we're going to be eating lasagna at midnight.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I've done. There is a bit of a tear in the paper. We'll deal with that later. But you need to whack it in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
So I'm going to set mine for 9. Set my timer for 9 and see how it goes. That was pretty. That was a pretty interesting process, Glenn. Have you got yours in the oven?
Yeah, it's not a dish that I would recommend doing on a weeknight after a heavy day. But
Definitely.
that's why I'm doing a big version of it, because once it's done, then it can be portioned up and put in the freezer.
Yeah. Lasagna for weeks. Well, while that's in the oven, I'm thinking we might start doing the meat sauce. At least get that moving because it's not terribly.
Oh, okay.
Tricky.
Well, I've still got another. I've still got another sheet to go.
All right.
But that won't take long. Once that's out, I can put the other one in, and then I can sort of move on. So I might be a little bit behind you, but I have done a lot of prep stuff. So the chocolate cake will be really quick and easy to get together. Because it's basically almost there. But I'd like the time with the meat to get the cake in. Once the meat's done, the cake will be cooked, and then I can whack the lasagna in, and then it'll be cake lasagna. Done.
Sounds like a plan. Well, I might as well start the meat because I can give everyone the steps for doing the heat. Now I've just put my pan on and it needs to be a medium to high heat. But this me going through this means we won't have to when you because you'll catch up, Glenn. It's not that hard, but and plus you've prepped up your onions and stuff, whereas I haven't yet. So a medium high heat. And we're going to chop up 1 brown onion. Since Glenn's already done his, I'm going to cheat a little bit and use my fabulous little
Oh,
my little Tupperware.
Are they any
John.
good?
Hey?
Are they any good?
They're the best things in the world. They're great for chopping up herbs, but for chopping up an onion under pressure, you only use half an onion. There's a lot of stuff with keto where they've kind of got this thing called FODMAP, and you know they have very low amounts of onion and garlic and stuff because it's all about getting into ketosis and staying there. So normally for me, making a lasagna, I'd use a whole onion, but the recipe, it's only half an onion.
Yeah, I measured mine out. Mine's a little bit over because it was a small onion, and I do tend to take a good layer off and the core. Sometimes the middle of the onion's a bit sort of
average.
Particularly if they're old, they can look like they're about to sprout. So I tend to get rid of that as well. So my small onion almost came to the exact amount, gram wise for the recipe. But yeah, you're right. There's very little, and this is actually one of those keto recipes where there is a little bit of onion. Most of the time, it's a little bit of onion powder, like a tiny tablespoon or teaspoon even of onion powder and garlic powder, which still gives you a bit of flavour and sort of sets the particularly with meats and stuff like that, it sets them up to have a little bit more flavour than just.
Well, it actually surprised me, Glenn, because I've never cooked with onion salt or garlic salt before I went keto last year, and I was amazed at how great the flavour is. I was really impressed.
I know. And
now, we've also, just to let everyone know, we're also going to chuck in, it does say a clove of garlic, but mine are small cloves and I love garlic. And I'm not hardcore keto again, so I'm not even measuring 50 grams of onion. I'm putting in the half an onion chopped up and a couple of cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to rev them up in my little lawnmower. Just keeping an eye on chat too. Ruth bought a brilliant thin chapati roller. Deb said she did a cauliflower pizza base when on keto. It was great.
I've not done cauliflower, but I'm not a fan of cauliflower. I must admit the cauliflower soup that we made, God knows how long ago that was, just as you were introducing me to keto, that was a really lovely recipe.
Yeah, it was good.
My partner doesn't eat pork or pork of any kind.
But I've got a recipe floating around. I don't know if it's keto friendly or not, but I'm pretty sure it is. And it's a macaroni cheese using cauliflower, and it tastes exactly like macaroni cheese. You wouldn't even know it had cauliflower in it. Scout Inquirer's got one of these little lawnmowers too. So just give me a sec. I'm just going to do this because my pan's getting hot. I can smell it. We're cooking under pressure. No, we're not really.
It does actually look like you're trying to fire up an old lawnmower.
It is. It's the best thing ever, honestly. Now I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of olive oil into the pan. That's another thing that freaked me out when I started keto, how much fucking oil they love. So 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and then we're going to add the onion and garlic, and I'll give that a bit of a stir. I'll be back in 1 second.
I don't tend to add, particularly with mince, I don't tend to add any oil because I know that there's going to be because I only use regular mince, and by the time that's cooked down, there is really plenty of oil from the beef.
Well, then you're not
There's
doing
quite a
keto
high-
right. Because that's what I used to be like too, Glenn. And then I started reading on the Facebook page about why there's so much oil, and it's really critical to keto that you have that extra oil.
Really?
True story.
I just think there's
Shitloads of
sufficient
oil.
in the mince, really. It's like...
Well, I use very lean mince, so there's not much oil anyway, but I wouldn't normally add oil even using a lean mince. But with keto, you get all the flavour from all the fat.
Well, I might just do that. I have done in the past, put quite a bit of butter before I put in the... But that's what it said in the recipe.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some keto dishes that I made and I couldn't believe how oily they were, so I cut the oil quantity down. Like there's a tuna casserole, I don't know if you've done it, it's got lots of celery in it too, and it's so yummy. But the first time I made it, it had like a layer of oil sitting on top. So there's ones that I was like, this is too oily. And a couple of the pizzas I've found to be too oily for me.
Yeah, I made Christy's Philly cheese steak, which is a weird thing to call it because it's actually chicken. And wow,
Yeah, I couldn't stand
that
that was swimming in oil, that one.
It was. Absolutely. Yeah. I get it. I get it. It's like it's low carb, high fat. There is the fat there. We can see it. But
Hi, Michelle P. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Glenn, but I engage with my chat a lot. There's people rocking up, so that's why whenever I jump in with a hello, it's because there's someone. But you can keep chatting.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I got no problem with
She's
that.
saying that she's got some a few ladies she knows who are going to love this. Have you got some keto friends, Michelle P? So I've got my onion and garlic is cooking away, and next I'm going to add 650 grams of ground beef or minced meat. And this is what 650 grams looks like. Now, if you're not into beef mince, you can substitute this and use chicken, turkey, lamb, whatever you want. Oh, I'll just chuck the mince in and then I'll get this tray out.
Yeah, I just got mine out. It's looking mighty fine.
How do you know when it's cooked? How can you tell if it's cooked, Glenn? You'll have to show me.
Well, it's going to get cooked. It's going to get cooked again anyway, but it should feel.
Sorry,
firm.
hang on, I'm back now. I couldn't
maybe
hear
just
you.
a little bit golden on the edges. You don't want it to go any further, otherwise, it'll be burnt.
Mine's going back
just
in.
a little bit golden. It's not quite done. Yeah. Well, I got mine quite thin because I did halve it. I've got another half to go in.
Mine, couldn't you put them on two different racks?
I could, but I've only got one silicone mat, so.
My phone's going dark. I've got a really precious phone that overheats, and I've got a horrible feeling that's what it's about to do.
Oh, no.
So if you lose me, I'll be back. I just have to put it in the freezer for 30 seconds.
Actually, you know what? I think mine does need a little bit longer. It's looking a little bit too precious for my liking.
Mine wasn't golden at all, and now my charger isn't charging again. But something's wrong with my phone, and it's a new one.
That's no good. Yeah, I'd get that looked at. I'm just thinking, maybe I can.
Now, with the beef, I'm going to add a couple of other things as well, just so everyone knows. So 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. These little sachets are perfect because they are exactly 2 tablespoons. Yeah, it looks like I'm freezing up. I reckon my phone's about to implode.
Yeah, sort of. All good.
Well, hopefully it'll. I don't know how to make it cool down while I'm live using my phone. Turn the light up behind me. Turn the heating off in the house. So I'm going to be chucking in a couple of device overheating. Yep, I knew it was. How do I cool it down? Take it out on the deck for a few minutes. Does anyone want to go for a walk? Oh, no, I've got to wait for my pasta sheet.
Well, I'm going to go. You were right. I'm going to use a different baking pan and just try to get this last lot of the batter done. So I've got all my lasagna sheet ready to go.
Ice pack. A pack of frozen peas. It looks, the weird thing is it looks bad on my phone, but it looks fine on YouTube. So I don't.
Right. So that is the end of that. And in true fashion, I'm just going to spray that with a bit of olive oil and then do this process of making it into a sheet. Oops. A little bit tricky. Now I feel like I'm on the spot. Never enough bench space in this place. I want to get rid of that. Rid of that pan. And just go through the same process of pressing it out into a thin layer. So it doesn't take very long to cook. And it's coming out the ends. Always take a little bit and then put it in the areas that's a little bit needing of it. Same thing, that's a little bit. Sorry, you can't really see exactly what I'm doing. But once I've finished, I will show you again. But I wouldn't cook it any further than that. And I'm just going to leave that alone. Right, so there is sheet number 2. It's probably a little bit thicker than the other one, but it's all good. So that, again, about 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. That's the main thing. Right. I'm going to pull together the chocolate cake because it's really simple. The recipe is exactly as the description that Tori put up. So I sent that through to her yesterday. And it's a link to a website, although it was taken off of a website. So I have in here 1.5 cups of almond flour, fine almond flour. So I went a little bit further out of my budget and bought the more expensive one. You can get almond meal, just means that the cake will be a little bit more crumbly. I've got a cup of cocoa. I use Cadbury's cocoa, and it does say to put 2 tablespoons of Dutch cocoa, but it also says that 2 tablespoons of whatever cocoa that you're using is enough. So basically 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. I've got 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/3 cup of monk fruit or erythritol, granulated erythritol, and I use the monk fruit because it just doesn't have quite a metallic aftertaste, which can be a bit unpalatable. So, let's clean up my spatula, covered in lasagna sheet. So the next thing we do is just add the wet ingredients, which is 1/3 cup of whatever milk that you want. You can use real milk if you want, but I use unsweetened almond milk. So I'm going to pop that in. Again, I went full core with the budget, and I have pure vanilla extract. The reason being is sometimes vanilla does have sugar or molasses or something or other in it, even though you're only using a very, very tiny amount. Oh. Here we go. Tori's back. Oh.
Hello.
Yeah. I've just finished off my second sheet, and I've just been through all of the dry ingredients for the chocolate cake.
Sorry, I was putting the frozen peas back in the freezer. Sorry, you did your second sheet, and I've been watching you on YouTube.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Now
I've been feeling a little lonely here.
I've got a question about my lasagna sheet. It looks really strange, Glenn. Is this what it's meant? Is this what it's meant to look like? Why is it grey? And
it could be the psyllium.
Right. And you said rubbery, right?
It depends on what psyllium husk you can get. Some people that make the keto bread, which has quite a bit of psyllium husk in it as well, end
Yep.
up with purple
Right, okay.
purple
Well,
rolls.
that's
So
sort of looking purple.
it
But
won't have any anything will change with the flavour. And I mean, once you've got the sauce and the cheese on top, you should be good.
why don't we just do layers of sauce and cheese and meat? But does that, I mean, if it feels like rubber, does that mean it's done?
Yep.
Okay. Weird. But then there's a lot of things about keto that are weird. So just so everyone knows what I was up to, thank you for welcoming me back up, El Marco, but you've got to do better than that. I saw what you said in chat. So over the back, I've got my meat cooking at the moment. Just as a little refresh, there was 3 tablespoons of oil, half an onion finely chopped, a garlic clove finely chopped, but I use 2. 650 grams, I'm using beef, ground beef. 2 tablespoons of tomato paste I've whacked in. I've added salt and pepper and half a tablespoon of dried basil. They do a lot of dried herbs. I think Diet Doc is a Swedish website, and I think they have trouble accessing a lot of fresh herbs in winter. So a lot of their recipes do have dried herbs, but surprisingly, I mean, I've never bought dried basil before, but I still had some left over from last year. And then you want to cook the mince. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I had to buy some.
Right.
I use it used to use it quite a bit when I was making, quick, simple spag bog, whatever, fettuccine bolognese.
Well, if I didn't find any in my herb box, I was going to use oregano anyway. So with the mince, you want to cook it and combine all the ingredients and cook it till the mince is no longer pink, because it is obviously going to get some more cooking happening in the oven. So my mince is nearly ready. You continue on with your cake, Glenn.
Ooh. All right, well, I'm just putting the wet ingredients into the chocolate cake, which is 3 eggs. Just before Tori came back, 1/3 of a cup of unsweetened almond milk and 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And that's it, basically. Pop it into your bowl, and I'll use wooden spoon and put it all
Just
together.
interrupting for 1 secondo. With the mince, when it's no longer pink, we add 120 20 mils of water and bring it to a boil, then lower the heat down, and then it's just going to simmer for about 15 minutes or until most of the water has evaporated. And 120 mils is hardly anything. So carry on, chocolate cake.
Yeah, pretty much that's it. You just pull it all together. I just have used a wooden spoon. I'll just make sure everything is combined. This is a bit hard to sieve almond flour. It's a little bit coarser with the baking powder. Yeah, anyway, it's all come together quite well. Strangely, there's no oil or butter.
Oh, sorry to interrupt again. It's Scat Inquirer's leaving because it's 1 a.m. in New York. And also just thoughts are with all of you in New York. It's no longer September the 11th for New York. It's now 1 a.m., but we were all thinking of you. It was September the 11th here yesterday. But much love to you, Scout, and New York City, and anyone who lost anybody they knew and loved in those horrible attacks. Our condolences to you. But we've been thinking of you in other parts of the world.
Yeah,
we're never going to forget it. We weren't on American soil, but it impacted the planet, and we'll never forget 9/11.
It is ingrained in my psyche because that's the day my dad died as well.
Right. Which would have been hard because everybody would have been
other people. Yeah, no, it was. Well, it wasn't September 11th. It was actually our September the 12th.
12th. Yeah.
Pretty much. in the consoling room that the nurses put us just after Dad passed away, the news was breaking on the TV, and it was surreal, really. I mean, you know, I was going through personal grief, and it took me weeks to get my head around what had actually happened.
It would have been a massive emotional overload for you, Glenn. It's a lot to process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's so strange to be thinking that it was 20 years ago. It feels like only last week.
Oh, no, it's crazy. That's just
with those people that were directly affected by the whole experience in America. It's like it must on those days, these anniversaries feel so close and still so raw.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. While my mince is simmering for about, it says at least 15 minutes, these are things that you can prepare in advance too, by the way, with this keto lasagna. We could have made the sheets and the mince in advance. There's instructions on the Diet Doctor website how to store the psyllium husk weird pasta thing in the fridge, and also obviously mince is fine, just chuck it in. But we'll also be making a really yummy cheese topping. How long does your chocolate cake cook for, Glenn?
It cooks for about 15 minutes, so it's not very long.
Wow.
It's not a big cake. You could double it, as the recipe says, you could double it and put it into 2 pans, and then you could have like a filling in between. I'm just doing the one today.
Yeah.
Because what I'll do, I won't ice it. I'll just sprinkle a little bit of powdered erythritol, which is similar to icing sugar, and a bit of cream and fresh berries, and beautiful.
Well, perfecto. Oh, yeah. I did some live scam baiting on my channel last night, and my scammer that I'm catfishing keeps sending me messages. Fuck off, Farouk. Mel is back, and she said her headache's finally gone. Yay! She's had a headache for like days and days and days. So happy news for Mel. I might move this sheet out of the way and put together the cheese mix that we're going to be adding to our lasagna. I'm concerned at how high this is. Mine's very thick. It's like this high.
Your lasagna?
The sheet.
Sorry. Look, mine's...
Yours are thinner, I think.
Yeah.
Much thinner.
Yeah. You might have needed a bigger
tray.
Baking tray, so you could just...
I'll just use bits of it, and I'm going to use
what you
smaller.
could, and you had it all to the corners and everything, but if it was a larger baking sheet, you would be able to get a little bit thinner. But as I say, mine's a little bit more, a little larger recipe content, so I figured I'd just do it half and half. So it's kind of like basically 6 eggs and 225 grams of the
psyllium
cheese,
the cream cheese,
whatever, and the other one's still in the oven, so that'll pop out in a minute or two. But
well, what I'm going to do is, it's really just that gold. See, the edges are the really chunky bits, so I'm actually just going to slice from the thinner part in the middle, and I'm just going to make a smaller lasagna.
Yeah. It's only 2. I mean, look, people make lasagnas and they have, 4 layers of pasta or whatever, but on this one, it's just 2 layers and you're done pretty much.
Well, I only want 2 layers of that weird rubbery tasteless shit, to be honest.
Sorry, right.
I only want 2 layers of that purple, rubbery, tasteless shit. All right, so I'm going to put my camera back down so everyone can watch me mixing cheese. Change the title of the pizza, says Mel. Well, that's probably not a bad idea either. So let's put together all the cheese. We're going to make a cheesy sauce. This is the best bit. So I'm concerned. I'll just check my minced meat as well.
That's what I love about this recipe. Normally a lasagna, depending on what sort of lasagna, but I used to do the traditional bechamel. It's just a little bit of a deal, pulling all that together.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of washing up. You know, you've got saucepans and graters and this. It's just one bowl, chuck it all in, mix it up, whack it on top, and away you go. So you don't have to go through the process of making a roux and whisking it until your arm falls off to make sure that there are no lumps. Grating 3 or 4 different types of cheese.
I make a killer roux though, so, you know, I never minded making the roux, but you're right. But that being said, I've got pots and pans all over the bloody place, so.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I've got a dishwasher right underneath, so.
I'm my dishwasher, so when you finish, you can somehow sneak out of lockdown, fly down here and give me a hand. How does that sound? All right, we're also going to crank up the oven too. When we cook our lasagna, it's going to be at 200 degrees Celsius. I'm actually going to turn mine off because it won't take long to get back up to 200. It might take us a little while still to do all the assembling and everything. But first up, we need 350 mils of sour cream. Is your cake in? Have you got a bun in the oven?
Almost.
So these tubs of sour cream are 400 mils, and I've already used some of it, so it might be a tiny bit over 350 mils, but you can never have too much sour cream in this house.
No, half the time I get the sour fucking it out, so this is a great recipe to get rid of it.
Mel's loving your man bun, and she also says she's the master chef of the lasagna, and my proper, like, well, not my proper, but, you know, traditional lasagna, I'm really proud of it too. I'm a bit skeptical about this keto one, I've got to say. But it was Glenn's suggestion, so if it's an absolute disaster, we know who to blame.
Yep. I'm good to have it. As I say, I've done it only once before, but it was very tasty. A little bit of carry on.
Look, I'm up for trying anything. I think that's part of the fun of cooking. And
absolutely. Hey, look, if it doesn't work, then you just never make it again.
Exactly.
You know.
All right, now cheeses, the recipe says to use 110 grams of shredded mozzarella, but I've got all these bags that I need to finish, so I'm actually going to throw all sorts of shit together, because that's why these recipes are fun too. You can, you know, use up things that are, oops, this is a new scale and I keep getting it back to front. Where the tear button used to be is now the grams. All right. So I've got some straight up mozzarella. Oh, that was just to remind me about the mince. And the mince is still got a little bit of water in it. You want as much of the water to be evaporated because the psyllium husk, weird purple pasta sheet thing, doesn't absorb liquids the way pasta does. So you want as little liquid as possible because it won't actually absorb it. Does it absorb any of the flavour, Glenn, or is it just like a standalone bit of rubbery weirdness?
No, it does. I mean, I guess this is quite possibly the reason why they've used the dried basil rather than fresh, because normally dried herbs will give you a stronger, more intense flavour. Not always, but oregano, for instance, dried oregano has a stronger flavour. So I'm assuming that the basil does as well, or at least I know because I've made it and I've tried it before. Is quite a strong flavour, so it does go through it. And you've got your garlic onion, which is something really unusual out of the norm of what keto cooking is, because you're normally only using small quantities of onion powder or garlic powder.
Tiny quantities, and then you're using 3 tablespoons of oil.
I will be.
All right, so I'm going to put I've got shredded mozzarella, and then the second bag was more like a pizza mix, so there's a bit of parmesan in that as well, but it's 110 grams, and we chuck that in. And then on top of that, we do want palmy, and I've got some of this extra sharp palmy and pecorino left over that I want to use. And you only put 40 grams because some of it's going to go on top. So sort of use, I don't know, most of it, and just save a little bit to go on top. And you want to mix that all together. This is my favourite part because this is my favourite cheese. Bring on the cheese. That was my favourite thing about keto. It was like, would you like a little more cheese with your cheese? And we're chucking in salt and pepper as well.
That's my go-to snack at about 4 o'clock. If I start getting hungry, I just grab a few slices of cheese. And that normally shuts me up.
Oh, Mel's asked a question about you with keto, Glenn, and she's asking if you're doing it now, but you might want to tell her your story.
I would say my keto is a bit dirty at the moment.
Yeah, but you can talk about how you got onto keto and...
Well, you were the one who got me onto it.
Yeah, and you stuck with it better than me.
And I've, I guess... the great thing was that my partner also decided that it was something that he wanted to do as well. It's always hard, one of us doing one diet and the other person not, or not getting involved. So this was something that both of us were into, even though I was the one doing all the cooking. But at least when I'm cooking, it's something that, you know, both of us are eating. I don't have to prepare 2 different
meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I lost the first lockdown. This is when it got to, like, critical, like, mass for me. I literally just got up out of bed and created a hernia. Something popped, and now I've got this tiny little bump in my belly button. And it was like, really? Oh, God. I've got to do something. So, you know, like people with weight issues, you try everything that comes your way. But the thing about this is that it's not as restrictive as a lot of other diets. You just always feel like you're not allowed to do stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of different desserts and things. I mean, there's things about keto that I found weird, like some of the things that you substitute, like bread. I made keto bread a couple of times. Yeah. Beautiful, straight out of the oven and fresh with shitloads of butter, but the next day it was awful. I didn't like it at all. But for me, I just found texturally, I really missed crunchy food. And then I started upping the stuff I was doing at the gym, and you just can't do really hardcore exercise on keto, and that bugged me a bit. I'm just mixing together the sour cream, cheese, salt and pepper, and I'm going to add now some freshly chopped parsley. Yum, yum. So they do use fresh herbs, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, I didn't give any parsley, so I'm probably just not going to bother with it because I've only got dried. Although, yeah, whatever, I might put a bit of dried parsley in there. Because I've got it, and it'll be good to get rid of it.
And that's it. The cheesy bit is mixed. This is the great bit. Mel says she gets hernias, they're a bitch. I had the P test kit for ketosis, Mel, but I ended up going to a low carb diet. It was just more realistic for me. I do like rice with curries. I mean, I can eat them without, but I only have like a little quarter of a cup of cooked rice, so that's like an eighth of a cup of uncooked rice. But there's things like I do enjoy having the occasional brunch with some crunchy sourdough and stuff like that. So I'm more low carb, and I missed potatoes as well. But I'm about to do proper keto again just for a 6-week period because it's just so, like, in terms of mental clarity and energy levels, it's unbelievable. And I've just started a new job and I really love it. So I'm having another go at it just to get back into that beautiful, energized headspace. Did you get that benefit from it too, Glenn?
To a degree, but I was suffering really bad sleep apnea, so that was compounding. That was one of the reasons also about, trying to lose weight is to sort of get onto that. I'm on the CPAP machine, but sometimes, the benefits probably may not be as dramatic as you probably had, because I'm like sort of like underlying conditions. So
Yeah.
I'm certainly a lot better than I was. That's for sure.
I mean, I was recovering from burnout, so for me, just getting my energy back and mental clarity as well was huge. Now I'm going to use this smaller dish. The recipe does say 6 servings, but I think in this dish it might be more like, for me, it'd probably be 4. For some households, it'd probably be 2. And then I might make a little tiny baby one as well that I could freeze. So I'm going to make 2 little ones, and I'm going to assemble mine because the lasagna is going to take half an hour to cook. It's going to give me a bit of time to clear away the kitchen, and then we're heading to donut land.
Right. Well, while you're doing donuts, then I can get my meat sort of underway and out of it. I mean, my chocolate cake's in the oven on its way, so everyone's now got a handle of putting the lasagna together. So I know I'm
exactly. Now, trimming off the really chunky bits. Glenn, when you make yours, do you cut a piece that goes perfectly in the bottom of the dish? Is that what you aim to do?
Yeah, but I mean, you can do it in 2 pieces or 3. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you cover the base.
All right.
Is more the issue.
So I'm putting my first sheet of tasteless purple weirdness, and I'm just going to cut a little bit more off to fully cover the base. It's reminding me of tofu.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've still got 2 slices there, though, haven't you? So meat, another slice of the keto pasta, and more meat, and then cheese on top.
We'll see. You haven't sold me on the psyllium husk. I'm not convinced that it's going to be that good. This meat smells and looks amazing because you let it cook till nearly all of the moisture's gone, because this psyllium husk pretend lasagna sheet doesn't soak up a lot of liquid. But the mint smells divine. And like Glenn was saying, the recipe does say pretty much it's only 2 layers of the pasta. And then, so it's only a double layer lasagna. So I'm putting in half of the mince now. And covering up the tasteless weird purple shit. But like any lasagna, I'm assuming it all kind of, the sour cream and cheese and everything will all sort of cook down amongst it all, and it all kind of just blends in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not really measuring the parsley. I'm just putting in a bit of a handful.
Oh, wait. This says to do pasta, meat, and then the cheese all goes on top. All right. I'm going to follow it to the T.
Just let me check the...
I like to follow a recipe the way they write it because these guys have amazed me at how good some of their recipes are. Like you read them and go, that's just the weirdest thing ever. And then you put it together and eat it, and it's the best thing you've ever eaten. Yeah, no, I made the right amount of pasta for a smaller dish.
Yeah, it looks like you've got
Okay.
good size for the bowl that you've got.
Yeah. So I'm not going to make a miniature one. And then the last of the meat's going to go on. I'll come and have a look at chat in a minute, guys. I'm being, industrious at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to do a bit of catch up here. I've got my cheese sauce ready. I've got my lasagna sheet, so I've just got to get my act together with the meat.
You're killing it, Glenn. It's good. It's good because I'll be able to get mine in, clear out my kitchen a little bit so we can start making donuts.
Yeah.
So just spread the remaining mince. I probably put more mince in the bottom layer than I did in this one, but it's lasagna. It's all going to end up hanging out together anyway. And then we're going to chop it weird purple. I know, it's strange.
Purple stuff.
Oh, Marco Chinto's nice looking mince. Well done with cooking the liquid out. Thank you. His cooking inspiration. Oh, you don't vlog other cooking channels on mine, mate? No, you do. That's fine. Nats. Is she on YouTube, Mark? I'll check her out. Nat's what I reckon. That's a cool name. Deb says it wasn't the diet, but wrong medical advice. Yeah, you did. You lost 85 kilos, Deb. You're incredible. It is a weird purple roof, but Glenn reassures me it's all going to be amazing, right?
Yeah. Don't worry about the colour, honestly. I think it's also the brand. You had the Coles Psyllium Husk. I bought a different brand. I can't remember what the brand was, but it certainly wasn't the Coles brand. I mean, it does look exactly the same, but I've made the keto bread and I've used the Psyllium Husk, but I've never had a purple colouring or tinge.
You're sounding like a snob, and when you live down at Dodgers Ferry, you don't drive all the way to Hobart to go to Umara to get fancy pants Psyllium Husk.
No, well, even Coles at that time didn't. I mean, I bought it from Coles. It was like they just didn't have their own brand of Psyllium Husk. It's just.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the only one I saw.
Like,
so
there's a market, so now we're going to start selling it.
Oh my God, this cheese sauce with the sour cream and the cheese, it's so thick and oh my God, it's just like I could just eat this shit on top. And it tastes unbelievable. And then we're going to put the extra palmy cheese on top. Oh, he's on YouTube. Oh, I've seen him, Mark. I know exactly. I didn't know that was the name of his channel. I'm subscribed to him. He's brilliant. The Heavy Metal Weather. I know exactly who you're talking about. I didn't realise. I mean, I'm subscribed. I forgot what his channel was called. Unless he changed his name. But no, I know exactly who, and that's what I reckon is. All right, so the remaining palmies on top. This little fucker is going to go in the oven for 30 minutes. I've bumped up the oven to 200. It's not quite at 200 yet, but when it is, that'll be going in. So I'm going to do a little bit of a clean up. And then obviously we always do. Oh, just put my thumb in it. That's a shame. I've got to eat more of that sour cream and cheese. We will be doing the taste test, of course, but I'm just going to clear things away a little bit, give the bench a wipe down so I can start with the keto-friendly old-fashioned cake donuts. And I've never baked donuts before, so this could be interesting.
I like the sound of them, but yeah, a little bit like the lasagna. I'm not convinced, but I'm glad that you're giving it a go because it will spur me on. If they're any good, I will grab, I'll grab a donut pan.
I know, and I wanted to buy a donut pan forever, and I was like, the second you see one, grab it. And I did see one somewhere. I can't remember where now.
Yeah, I just love kitchen stuff.
Me too. I think I got it at Habitat, which is now called Minimax.
Yeah, I used to love going through Habitat. Are they still there?
Okay. Give this bench a bit of a wipe down. Whack in the lasagna. I'm really excited to taste that, Glenn.
Okay, so I've gone with the oil.
Bruce, yes, you can drop that link for sure. Just don't go and watch him now. Hang out with us, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'm just going to go over to because the exhaust fan is so bloody loud. I will just deal with this meat.
No worries. And I bet he wouldn't flog my channel, but that's okay. We're nice and friendly around here. But no, definitely drop his link, Bruce, for sure. But if he's live and you all leave me and Glenn, I'll be really sad. Glenn did just say donut pan El Marco Cinco, and I'm the one who has it. He's mine. I shall show it to you now. This is my donut pan. It's very sexy. I was so excited when I found this because I have been literally looking for one for over a year. I've been dropping into kitchen shops all over the place thinking there must be some place that has them. And when I found it, I'm like, but it only had one. Otherwise, I would have got two. The silly putty. Well, they are keto, Mark, so we're going to give them a go. And if they're amazing, I will be honest with my reviews. If they're amazing, we're on to a winner. If not, I'm going to make proper donuts next time. But today is a keto cook-off. And my phone's not charging at the moment, which makes me think it's probably going to try and overheat again. So I'm just going to pull the charger out for a sec. I may disappear again. Right, we'll put the lasagna in. And I'm going to set the timer because I always forget when I'm live. And I've got to get my donut recipe ready. Can't wait to see Glenn's chocolate cake. Somebody remind me in chat in about 10 minutes to put my phone back on charge, please. Now, with the lasagna, before I move on to the donuts, you can store it in the fridge for 3 to 4 days, and you can freeze it for up to 3 months. Okay, it's old-fashioned Keto Cake Donuts, and they're glazed, and they're also going to have drizzle on them. They're fancy. According to the recipe, make donuts that rival those from a professional baker in 30 minutes. These delicious old-fashioned keto cake donuts are covered in a lattice cream cheese frosting and topped with a splash of chocolate drizzle. And wait for it, donut try to resist. I'm here all week, try the schnitzel. Do you need some olive oil to make the silly putty, Mark? You've set a timer for 10 minutes, thank you, Ruth, because I'll forget to plug it back in and then my phone will cark it. All right, now we're not going to preheat the oven, but because the lasagna's just gone in on 200, but when that comes out, we'll be dropping the heat down to 175 to cook the donuts, or if you're a Fahrenheit person, it's 350. And first up, we're going to get all our ingredients and the mixing bowl. Here's a shitload of ingredients and things I prepared earlier. Everything's at room temp. Alrighty, just going to give the bowl a wipe. Let's do this. It just had a droplet of vanilla in it, so it wasn't anything too horrific. What's Ruth doing? The eyes, the face, the monkey? No idea. No idea. Anyway, let's get on with it. Starting with 50 grams of coconut flour. So being keto, like Glenn touched on earlier, the flour is always like coconut, almond, I can't remember what other, buckwheat. I cooked with so many different flours. And honestly, you cannot tell the difference. In fact, sometimes things taste better, I think, because it's not the usual white, starchy flour. So 50 grams of coconut flour. Now, with baking, I am very particular. With cooking, I'm a bit random. For baking, I'll stick to the recipe because...
Chocolate cake done.
Oh, can you hold it up to you? Oh, Glenn. How does it smell? Does your kitchen smell of maize balls?
Sorry?
Does your kitchen smell amazing?
It does.
Awesome. In addition to the coconut flour, we're going to add, it's a quarter of a teaspoon of sea salt. This is the one area I don't muck around. I know how much a quarter of a teaspoon is for the most part. But with the baking soda or bicarb soda, where's my little thingy gone? I will measure that. A little bit heavy on the salt. Don't bother me. It is looking good, isn't it? Hey, Ozzy. Oh, look, Ruth's coming to your place, Glenn. She wants a chocolate cake. He may not be able to hear us because he's over near his extractor fan at the moment. We'll tell him when he comes back. So a quarter of a teaspoon of baking soda. And they're all of our dry ingredients, and we're just going to mix them together. And then we're going to stir in the wet ingredients, starting with 6 eggs. The rest of that massive bowl of eggs I had at the start. It's donut time. This is the first time in my life I've made donuts. And they're baked ones. So they're like a cake. Hopefully they'll be nice and moist. All right, 6 motherfucking eggs.
How many eggs have we gone through today?
14. There was really a day when I was doing keto properly that I didn't go through a dozen eggs a day. It blew me away. Fortunately, a lot of people down this way have got chooks, so there's always beautiful free-range, affordable eggs close by. Now, Glenn was chatting before about the erythritol, which is essentially it's a sweetener. It should have been listed in the original dry ingredients, but it wasn't, but that doesn't matter. But I'm actually using, or is your erythritol liquid, Glenn, or is it powder? You can't hear me. I don't have any, so I'm using. I just need to check with him that it's a sweetening component, because if it's a sweetening component, I use monk fruit and what's this stuff called? It's a sugar replacement anyway. Baker's Secret. Glenn, is the erythritol the sweetening component of baking? Yeah. All right. So I'm subbing it out with this, which I believe is monk fruit. I can't get erythritol down this way, and monk fruit seems to be what I've used in all of my baking, and it's fine. It's actually nicer than sugar.
Yeah. This was the other sweetener that I started using as well, but yeah, I went on to the monk fruit. Just it's always available, but I think when I started keto, it was not.
Oh right, yep.
Not really around my supermarket traps, so I started with that, and then all of a sudden monk fruit appeared, so I sort of kept with it.
Pretty much, it's worth experimenting with sweeteners when you do diets like this where they don't have sugar, because it is a bit hit and miss. But when you find one that doesn't taste like an artificial sweetener, and all the keto ones they recommend are all organic and natural, they're not those awful chemicals that we used to. Remember those Hermesis tablets that people used to put in their coffees and teas back in the 80s to try and cut back on sugar? They were so bloody chemically and disgusting. Now we're also going to add some butter or coconut oil, but I'm actually going with butter, and we need 120 grams of it. It's 156. I love my coconut bowls, Kylie. I eat my breakfast grains and things in them. I do like beautiful breakfast bowls in them. Something exotic about eating out of a coconut. I love it. But they're really lightweight too. They're great for measuring things. Speaking of, 120 grams. Too little. 119. Come on. 120 grams. I'll chop that up a little bit. I haven't run out of beef space yet, Glenn. Glenn sounds like he's deep in focus. Just took away
it looks like cake. It looks like cake batter.
I'll put phone on charge. Thank you, Ruth. See how cool my chat is? I've got the best people, and it's charging. It works.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Because chargers make phones hot.
I can't see people chatting. Is there something I should click?
On StreamYard to the right, there should be a little tab that says comments. And if you click on that, you should be able to read chat.
Okay.
Is there comments or chat or... On mine it says comments, and then it says banners, and then it says brand, but because I'm...
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's...
Can you see it?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Now you can see what people are saying. They all want to eat your cake for starters. And we're going to mix in this butter.
Woohoo.
Try to break it up a bit with the wooden spoon. In fact, I'm going to chuck in.
Nothing like a whole pound of butter.
I know. Well, so that was only 120 grams. It was only not even half of a block of butter. Now, one thing this recipe did say to get was almond extract. And again, I live out in the middle of nowhere. The local Coles in the next town over has a good supply of stuff, but limited when it comes to extract. So there's no almond extract. I think the idea of the almond is to give a bit of that caking flavour, but it already needs a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm just going to do a teaspoon and a quarter of vanilla. I mean, seriously, I wasn't going to drive to Hobart, so I could put a quarter of a teaspoon of almond extract in. Chat's very excited. You can read chat now, Glenn.
I'm not real keen on almond extract.
No, it's like marzipan.
Yeah, just the amount of almond flour that you use in these recipes, I figure that's sufficient almond.
Yeah, it's like lay off the almond for God's sake. All right,
yeah,
so
I'd be more inclined to go with vanilla. That's more my taste bud.
now this is quite a wet mix. It's moist. Definitely moist.
Anyway, it'll go in the pans very easily.
Hey?
It'll go into your donut pans really easily.
Well, it will, but I'm going to just get my stick mixer happening because that butter's been at room temperature in a cosy house all day and it's going to take forever for me to blend it. So I'm going to put the stick mixer on low.
Yeah.
And sort it out.
Go the appliance.
Exactly. They were invented for a reason, Glenn. Just on a low setting so it doesn't do anything too crazy. All right, maybe buy them low. Break the butter up a bit. All right. Now it looks like scrambled eggs, but don't worry, it'll be fixed, guys. It'll be fixed. What are you with Glenn on, Aussie? I don't even know what Glenn was saying. I'll go the appliances. So are you going to try the cake or are you going to ice it or what's the deal with the cake?
Look, it does have a recipe for a chocolate cream cheese, but I've already used 2 blocks of cream cheese just in the lasagna, so I figured I might just sprinkle it with a bit of monk fruit icing sugar.
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, I bought in Hobart. I haven't seen it here, but it's pretty much exactly the same as icing sugar. So I'm just going to dust it with a bit of icing sugar and a bit of cream and some blueberries, which are all pretty keto friendly.
Nice.
The raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries.
Yep.
I figured that would be...
Which is perfect for me because blueberries are my favourite fruit.
Oh, I love it.
Well, there's a lot of elbow grease going into this. The butter's just not
coming together.
No, I might have to put it in my KitchenAid. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Just put it with the paddle for a little while. I thought about melting it, but the recipe didn't safety.
Okay, well, I'm going to assemble my lasagna.
Nice. With your pretty sheets. I'm getting every last bit of donut mix out of this bowl. When it comes to donuts, you don't waste anything. I'm going to be cleaning my kitchen till midnight. The lasagna, I'm starting to smell the lasagna, guys, and it smells awesome. It smells delicious.
What? The lasagna smells good?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Smells yum. Okay. Let's go. What does the KitchenAid do its job? Yeah, don't waste anything, even the whole. No, the butter's been out all day, Ozzy. I was organised weirdly, but it is tabby, so it was as room temperature as I could get it, but it's still a bit cold.
Well, I've just tried a little bit of the offcut of the pasta part of it, and pasta on its own anyway is pretty bland. So I think it's doing its job. It's actually a little bit more tastier than pasta.
It's just not coming together, so I'm actually going to put a tiny bit more coconut flour in it, just to see if that helps it rip a little bit, because it's the butter just isn't breaking down. I should have melted it in hindsight.
Okay. Now I'm just on the home stretch with the assembling of the lasagna.
Because with flours, the ratio with coconut flour is that you use a lot less than plain flour. I'm only adding like half a teaspoon at a time, but it is actually making a difference.
Yeah, coconut flour can go like a long way in terms of soaking up liquid.
Oh, sorry. Are you chat about your lasagna, because I'm over at the KitchenAid. So the floor is yours. I'm going to add a bit more vanilla extract too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just on the last throes of pulling the lasagna together. So I'm just going to add the cheese topping, pop it in the oven, and woohoo, away we go. Actually might...
I'm just trying to get this to come together, Glenn. I reckon it's maybe one of those weird keto things that looks wrong and then you cook it and it's okay.
Yeah.
Should I just put it in with lumps of butter and let's see what happens? Why not?
Why not?
It's just lumps of butter.
I mean, you followed the recipe as it's stated, so.
I mean, it's nice and fluffy, but it's just not. I thought it'd be smooth.
And I think if you put too much of the coconut flour in, it'll just go really dry, or could potentially turn really dry.
Well, this is the risk, and look at it. I'm wondering if I add another egg just to loosen it up again a bit.
Okay.
Have a look at it, Glenn. What would you do? Would you add another egg?
Yeah, that's looking a bit too chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, go another egg. Is that the only liquid? Is there any like milk? Or...
No, it's just the 6 eggs and the vanilla is the only liquid. 1 or 2 eggs. Maybe you go. I'll take votes from chat. I'll try 1 egg and we'll see if it looks better. It's kind of weird, but then nearly everything I made on keto at the start, I'd be like, that looks really weird. And then I'd eat it and be like, oh my God, that's incredible. Diet Doctor do have, if anyone wants to go keto or low carb, Diet Doctor is a fabulous website. The recipes are amazing. And I've never had anything. Well, no, I made egg butter once, which was disgusting. But pretty much everything I've ever made, I loved. And Marco says 1 egg.
What
Look,
was
we'll give
that
them
egg
credit.
butter?
Egg butter. It was 90% butter with a hard-boiled egg through it. It was gross. But
Yeah.
I made some incredible stuff. But the other thing, guys, is Diet Doctor. There is a subscription fee, but it's like $10 a month. But there's heaps of recipes that are free for the public. You don't have to be a subscriber. And whenever I cook anything from Diet Doctor, I always make sure that it's something you guys can access. So I've put the links to these recipes, but these are just 2 of hundreds of recipes that you can look at without subscribing. I'm not confident, but we'll just start filling up these little donut pans and see what happens. It's nothing like a cake mixture. I can't work out why it hasn't. Maybe coconut oil. I probably should have melted the butter. That's what I reckon where I've fucked up.
Should have melted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say to, but I reckon it would have made a difference. Oh, shit. I don't think I greased this, did I? No. I'm fatiguing. That lasagna was quite the mammoth effort. Let me grease this fucking.
I've just gone a little bit heavier with cheese because I love it. And as they say,
you can never have too much cheese. They encourage you to eat all the cheese in keto and all of it, lots of it. Shitloads of it.
Yeah, the fridge is full of mozzarella, Cracker Barrel, Colby, tasty cheese, hamburgers, slices. It's like, you name the cheese.
Hey?
You name the cheese, I've got it.
I love that they're like, today we're having baked camembert and they do some fancy little topping and they're incredible, but it's like, I'm seriously sitting down to half a chunk of camembert for lunch. Bring it on. Yeah. And I never got sick of it. There are a lot of people that say with keto, the cheese, the excess amounts of cheese actually was what made them stop doing it, but it never bothered me. I never got sick of eating cheese.
I can eat cheese and bacon or bacon and eggs for breakfast, but still lose weight, I think I'm winning.
Exactly. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents, says El Marco Chinko, quoting Bob Ross. Look, it's trial and error, and I've got some really amazing donut recipes with flour that I'm prepared to make if this is a disaster. And I'm going to glaze it with a Philly cheese. I'm going to use my fingers. It's just going to be easier. There's a glaze, like a Philadelphia cheese glaze. So, you know, if we have to smother these weird lumpy fuckers in that, we'll do it. And it also has chocolate drizzle over the top of the cream cheese. So, I mean, hello. I'm going to get a teaspoon. You only fill your donut pans halfway. So I'm going to squash it all down a little bit. And we'll just see what happens.
I had quite a bit of leftover sheeting, but I went the full hog. I probably could have got away with just doing the 8 eggs, but I just thought that pan was a bit... I had a smaller one, which broke. And I don't think I've ever made the lasagna in that big dish before. And I thought, better be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Well, you can use the lasagna sheet. You can save it in your fridge for a few days. So if you got inspired and wanted to do, I don't know, a moussaka or something, or cut it into disgusting pretend bits of pasta, I don't know. I'd be binning it myself.
I
but
eat it right now, actually. It's quite tasty.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't try mine because mine looks purple and you said it was kind of tasteless.
Well, it's a bit salty. It's a bit sort of a little bit sweet as well. I guess that comes from the cheese. I like it. It's quite nice.
These donuts are all kinds of wrong.
All kinds of wrong?
Yeah, but you know what? Since I've been going live on YouTube, I haven't fucked up one dish, so I'm well overdue. It might as well be a baking thing because baking is not my forte. Can you tell? I love making chilled desserts. Ask me to make a creme brulee or a panna cotta, and I'm your girl. But or something like a big sticky date pudding, that kind of stuff. But little dainty pastry sort of things.
That's my forte. That's where...
Look out, my lasagna's ready. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah, the lasagna is ready. So I'm going to chuck the oven down to, I'm actually going to leave the door open for a minute and then it'll be going down to 175. But wait till you see this lasagna. You'll forgive me for the donut.
Well, there's my chocolate cake.
Oh, great. And that looks amazing.
It doesn't rise a lot. So the texture's a little bit more like a brownie than you would
I was going to say, is it more fudgy and dense?
But hey, look, if you doubled it and you did 2 pans and you had 2 of those and you sandwiched that together, I mean, that's a decent cake, really.
You guys are going to lose your shit when you see the lasagna. So have you tasted your cake?
Not yet, no. Wait till we're all together. My lasagna's in.
My lasagna is out.
Ooh, look at that boiling away.
It is boiling away.
Yummo.
It smells amazing and it's much prettier. It looks like it's sunk in the camera shot, but it hasn't. It's beautifully even across the top. And tonight when I have it properly for dinner, I mean, I'm going to do a taste test, but when it's not bubbling, I'll make a really nice little crunchy salad with some cos lettuce and some cherry tomatoes, and then I just dress it with a bit of lemon juice and salt and pepper. And I've got some celery as well. But it looks amazing. The problem with this, with StreamYard and also my camera on my phone, they never really reflect the right colour, the true colour. But it's beautifully golden across the board. It looks like the sun is coming in through the window too, the afternoon sun. So the lighter bits are pretty golden where I am sitting. It looks amazing. Smells amazing. I can't wait to crack into it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, let's crack a ginger beer, everybody. I forgot. I was going to crack one ages ago. I love the ginger beer.
Finishing my soda stream off.
My sister brought these over the last time. Hey, these are Zephyrs.
There's my afternoon.
What was that?
I said I've made a wreck of the kitchen. There's my afternoon gone cleaning it up.
Yeah, mine too, but it's all good fun. Put something on, put some good music on and away you go. My sister brought these over last time. It's a New Zealand grown-ups dry ginger, I mean, alcoholic ginger beer. So I'm going to have that. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
It's got quite a big head on it, so I'm just letting it settle a bit. Oh, that's refreshing after some hot work in the kitchen. Oh, my God, you're nibbling away on those pasta sheets like they're lavash crackers. I'm not convinced yet that they're going to taste good, but I'm ready to be surprised. I'm going to whack the weird donut things in.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one because that was a little problematic, wasn't it? I'm very keen to see how it comes out.
I know what I need to do. I'm not a great baker, but I know that if I'd melted that butter or I'd used coconut oil, it would have been fine. This is, Mark's on the Chateau Collapso Wine Smith's Cask Wine Classic Dry White. They do some good cask wines. I'm not knocking them. Got me through uni. Does everyone remember when, this will test the older Australians in the audience, Banrock, oh shit, wait, I've got to set my timer for 20 minutes for the donuts. Banrock Station put out a cask, and it was the first probably decent cask wine in Australia, but they had seeds in the bit that you pull out where the little tap comes out? There's a little piece of cardboard. They embedded seeds in it, and you put them in your garden, and it grew natives.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of this out. It's still going to be hot. I'll let it cool down. Oh, look at it. It's all gluggy and cheesy. Look. Now we're talking. Oh, yeah.
I'm going straight with cheese.
Have some cheese with your cheese. Oh. Not that easy to remove elegantly.
Normal lasagna. I suppose. Look, if you let it rest a little bit longer, it'd probably be a bit easier. But
it would, but we have no time for that.
Normal lasagna would be hard to get out anyway.
Yeah, but you're right. If you let it, I've got some of the purple weird shit's come out, so we'll be trying that too. Not wasting any of the sour cream cheese combo. All right. get this beautiful lasagna. But you're right, if you let your lasagna sit, it does tend to harden up a bit.
Yeah.
Harden the fuck up. But for a taste test, let's see. And I'm very, very honest. There's still a lot of steam coming off this little fucker, but there it is, guys. I'll try and show you a nice part of it.
Yeah, I can't really see the purple. The purple obviously would be more prevalent for you because you're right there, but over camera, it's not.
No,
It certainly looks appetizing.
It's sort of the same colour as the meat. Oh, I won't be burning my mouth. I'm not trying it just yet. I'm going to let it cool down while I enjoy my ginger beer. But I will get a little forky out. But yeah, this afternoon I'm going to be cranking the music and cleaning. I've got shit all over the place in here. And I still haven't done the actually, I should be doing the frosting as well.
For the donuts, yeah, there's a bit. Did you have any trouble finding icing powder or powdered monk fruit? Is that what the
yeah, I didn't find any. I'm going to use actual icing sugar probably. Because, look, let's face it, the donuts are going to need a bit of a helping hand. I'm going for,
but you never know.
I'm going for a piece of the weird purple shit. Wow. That is delicious. It tastes like my lasagna, but even nicer. I like the it's nicer than my lasagna, and the purple thing's kind of odd, but the dried basil has really made this dish amazing.
Does, doesn't it? It's amazing.
It's crazy.
How little goes a long way. When you think of it, really all it is a little bit of onion, garlic, and basil and pepper. Is about all the seasonings that go in it. Oh, and the tomato paste. But there seems like only a very small amount of that too. It's like, you know, 2.5 tablespoons or something.
I did just eat a bit of the purple stuff on its own, and it does have a bit of a rubbery sort of consistency, but considering it was the first time I made it and it was quite thick,
yeah,
I think if I did it again, I'd do 2 sheets and do it thinner.
Yeah. I think I was happy with the thickness that came out with mine.
Yeah.
But I could have got away with 8 eggs instead of the 12. Hey, not to worry.
This is beautiful. I really like it. And you know, one thing else I really like about it is cooking off that moisture on the mince has made a huge difference as well. It's like it's got an elevated flavour to it because it's not sitting in a pool of water. Like, you know how some lasagnas, even if it's tomato flavoured, it's still got that kind of watery bit lying around the outside. This doesn't have it.
Yeah. You know,
Great suggestion.
The other thing that you could do, although I don't think it really needs it, is instead of using water, you could use beef stock. You know, one of those little...
I honestly don't think it needs it.
No. Well, some of the recipes I do, like there's a Tex-Mex casserole that I add a little bit of beef stock with the tomato to cook it down. I think it gives it a nicer flavour. Although there are so many herbs and bits and pieces.
Tex-Mex.
It probably doesn't really need it either, but
I've made that on this channel. I even just taught everyone how to make the seasoning because it's so good.
I've got this huge huge jar of it, and it goes a long way. But I mean, I have seen a company advertising on Facebook that the algorithms clearly realise that I'm on keto, but they have a whole lot of different seasonings that are keto friendly.
Yeah.
That was the thing that really surprised me, the amount of seasonings and stuff that I had to throw out because it had rice flour in it or sugar or all the rest of it. And it's like, no, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. So yeah, making up your own seasoning mix, and you've got to seal them up. This stuff lasts for ages.
Yeah, and they've got I'm going to take my charger out. My phone stopped charging again. They've got a heap of different spice mixes and dipping sauces and all sorts of things on the website too, so you can always make something in bulk. So you've got like keto-friendly chutneys and mustards, and I think mustard is keto-friendly, but you've always got things to add to stuff. That lasagna is awesome. Ozzy said, what's the weird purple thing? Well, mine ended up having a purplish sort of hue to it. We made keto-friendly lasagna sheets using psyllium husk, and mine ended up with this sort of pale lavender. I'll call Ruth another time. Thank you, darling. And yeah, dried basil is lovely in dumplings. So yeah, we made a keto-friendly thing to substitute as a lasagna sheet, but it's actually really nice, and there's a bit of rubbiness with mine because mine was definitely too thick. I ended up using a lasagna dish that was half the size of the one I was going to use, so I should have, in hindsight, just used half the lasagna sheet mix and thinned it out. The only reason it's a bit weird is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got cheese dangling off it, but it kind of looks like a bit of meat or spam, but it's too thick. You can see how thick it is there. But that's a learning experience. I know next time if I make this, I'm going to be really rolling it out a lot thinner.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, for the recipe, pulling the meat together is very easy. Pulling the cheese together is very easy. It's the keto lasagna that's a little bit fiddly, a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
And you make it, you learn it.
Yep.
Next time you do it a different way.
The other thing too is you can make the psyllium husk sheets and the mince the day before. So this is something I'd consider doing if I was having people over for dinner or lunch, because it's really yummy. Like, it's so good. And I love cooking keto food for friends. It always surprises them. They're like, my God, this is yum. My sister in particular. So you could always start making the bases the day before, and then really on the day you've just got to assemble it and bake it, do the cheese and sour cream mix. The sour cream and cheese combo is amazingly yummy, but they are two of my favourite things in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, the link is in the description, guys, and seriously, I'd give it a crack if I were you. Just take my advice, and for me personally, the thinner the sheet, more like a sheet of actual lasagna, the better. Mine's a bit chunky. But interestingly, the recipe did say for people who like a bolder, thicker pasta vibe, then make it thicker. So
yeah.
I'm eating it happily, like it's delicious. It's got crazy amount of flavour in it, and the fact that the mince isn't sitting in a shitload of water is really yummy too.
Yeah. And you're right. I think it's just the right amount of fat content too. I put that extra olive oil in there with the mince.
Well, the mince, it cooks it up. It's absorbed it. It wasn't sitting in a pool of oil either.
No, not at all.
I'm giving this 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be an absolute disaster for you.
No.
It was like, oh my God.
That is one of the...
as I say, I have cooked it before, so I knew the flavour would be there. It's just this
Yeah.
weird keto pasta.
Well, I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to try it with a thinner psyllium husk sheet. But that is so tasty. And the other thing I loved about it was I took it out of the baking dish, chucked it on the plate. It doesn't need any salt or pepper on it. Like, it's perfectly seasoned too.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I found with their website. They are really big on seasoning food properly. That's so delicious. That's a 10 out of 10 for sure. Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
I will make that one again.
These seasonings I found at in Sydney called a Meat Emporium. They just have, as you go through, it's just a huge cool room. There's meat everywhere. And as you realise, when you're on keto, you do eat quite a lot of protein. But there's nothing, there's no sort of like fillers in it. It's all just spice, which I love.
Yum.
The fact that there's rice powder or anti-caking agent or sugars or whatever.
Yeah, lovely.
And they're great. You know, I got a piece of brisket, cooked that on the Weber, chucked this stuff all over it, and it was gorgeous, beautiful.
Hi, Red Lotus. Red Lotus has arrived saying, love that. What's the brand, Glenn? Can you put it up
They're
closer
called,
to your camera?
Lane's Barbecue.
Nice.
Yeah, rubs and sauces. And there was another, that's the brisket one. One I've actually used up. I think it was just it's just called barbecue seasoning.
Yeah,
slightly
yum.
different flavour, similar to the brisket rub, slightly different flavour, but this has just got a little bit of chili in it, so it's got a little bit of bite, but that goes well with chicken. Whereas
Is it Lanes? Lanes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joy's Red Lotus. See, Glenn, I'm just laughing. I had an afterthought before when you were saying, oh, I've got such a mess in here. I've got to clean up the kitchen. There goes my afternoon. I'm like, dude, you're in lockdown. You're not fucking going anywhere.
God, that's true. I do have to take the dog. So.
That can be a little reward for cleaning the kitchen. Okay. I'm going to get on with making the Philadelphia frosting for my dodgy donuts.
Oh, cool. Well,
you've got to love keto is fun because you get to experiment with all kinds of weird things, and you know, let's hope these donuts, what they lack in appearance, they make up for in taste. Okay. Now I am going to melt this butter. We need 60 grams of butter. I'm going to melt that. Hi, anyone wandering in or people that have popped in and we didn't see you. Good to have you here on this Sunday afternoon in Australia.
There it is. There's the beast.
Oh, it's done. Oh, Glenn, look at that.
Looks
golden
great.
Brown. Oh, it looks amazing. Will you have a little, it looks exactly like mine. Will you have a salad?
Probably not. I'll just have that. And maybe some cheese.
Oh, El Marco, that's awesome. You said, I have to say, after watching you both cook today, it may be time for me to jump on the train. Destination Keto Town. Mate, it's a good town to be in. I couldn't do it long term forever, but in terms of doing pure keto for 6 or 8 weeks, I absolutely loved it. And then I did sneak some carbs in that diet. I go through Diet Doctor, and that's the site that Glenn's also a member of. And everything is so tasty, like ridiculously tasty. You don't feel like you're on a diet. The benefits of going keto, you feel it within the first 24 hours, 48 hours max. But they also have a lot of low carb recipes too. And
Yeah.
you don't win friends with salad.
You don't. I mean, you
But
can
yeah,
use the.
it's a nice way to eat. I mean, I'm amazed, Glenn, that you've put up with it, stuck with it for so long, because I really started to miss a few things. But you can tell us more about what it's like to be permanently on it, really.
Well, I mean, during the lockdown, I've had my my breakouts. Like, I guess one of the things that I love are cashews, which are not really high on your keto list. Almonds are, and raw nuts within limits. But I have been lashing out quite a bit with cashews, and even though they say that KFC is definitely not keto, but I lash out with that as well. And it's really only the breading that is probably the issue, is the flour that's on the outside. But I did watch a program. This guy was explaining the sort of fast foods that potentially can be adjusted if you really need to at least try to stick with keto. And he said 3 pieces of KFC, not the chips, not the potato and gravy, not everything else, but just the original recipe chicken will still keep you within the carb level, as long as it's the wing and the drumstick. But that went out the window with me. I just kind of love getting it and putting it in the fridge and eating it the next day. I actually don't enjoy it hot. I like it cold. I feel like a real southerner eating cold fried chicken.
I put my phone charger back in and it's not charging.
Oh.
So can you give me a reminder in 5 minutes, please, Ruth? The other thing with keto too is you can go to, and this is where I broke out too, like when I went a bit more low carb, but like you can go to your favourite pub and you can get like a southern fried chicken burger and just don't eat the bun. They also say if you can't get a gluten-free pizza base, you can just order a pizza and just eat the toppings, which I've never done, because the keto pizzas are actually better than dough pizzas. Like I was saying earlier, there's one that I love. You literally need grated cheese and an egg, and you mix them together, put parchment paper on a baking tray and chuck it in the oven till it's golden brown. And it all melts in together, and then you bring it out and top it with whatever pizza topping you want. More cheese, back in the oven. It is fucking delicious.
Yeah.
There's a skillet, Thank you, Ruth.
A skillet pizza, which is just mozzarella cheese, and you melt the mozzarella cheese.
Yep.
And then add your toppings on top. And it says to keep cooking it on the stovetop, but I just pop it in the oven with the grill on.
Yep.
And how simple is that? I mean, it feels a bit weird, cheese on cheese, but ultimately that's what you would be eating if you bought a dough pizza and still wanted to keep keto. You just wouldn't eat the base. You just eat the topping, which is tomato cheese, capsicum,
all right,
whatever.
So I'm still cooking, good looking. So the donuts apparently are ready.
Right.
I've got to make the frosting. Okay.
I hate to see these.
You hate to, but you can't wait.
Well, I can't, but
I'm not writing them off just yet.
Wow, look at that.
They smell really good.
Wow.
They're going to sit over on the bench over here and cool down while I make the toppings, which hopefully won't take too long. You're more than welcome. If you don't want to hang around while I do this, Glenn, or do you keen to see the end result?
Yeah, no, I want to see the end result.
All right, cool. Well, I'll get on with it. Okay, so we're putting
sample it and say yay or nay.
Yep. 60 grams of melted butter goes in the bowl. Then we need 60 grams of more Philadelphia cream cheese because you just kind of have too much of that in a day.
Philadelphia cheese should have sponsored the stream, really.
They should have, I know. They should have.
Actually, the lady at the checkout on at Coles, she said, "Oh, what are you making with all that cream cheese?" I said, "I'm making lasagna," and she looked at me weirdly.
She was expecting you to say.
I think she was expecting me to say cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No, they do. They put a lot of Philly in the keto food, and that adds to the flavours, I think.
What I might do though, is I might sit down because
yeah. Take a seat. Then we're going to put 32 grams of. Sorry, I'm racing through it. You put your feet up. Just chill out, relax. Because I want to get this donut assembled so we can all admire my amazing donuts. What did everyone say about the donuts? Oh, they said they look nice. Thank you. 32 weirdly grams of sweetener. Again, I'm using the monk fruit, but whatever you want to use, just not sugar. That goes in too. And half a teaspoon of vanilla extract.
Woohoo. You cannot go past vanilla extract.
So what was it? Half a teaspoon. Guesstimate. Looks good to me.
Very good.
We're just going to mix that together. Now, it did say to make it in a wide, shallow bowl, and I now realise why, because I'm actually going to be dunking the donuts into this, but I'm just going to mix it in this bowl and then I'll put it out on a flatter bowl. It's more lumps, man. I don't know, I'm covered in it too. Everything was at room temperature. We had melted butter, for God's sake. It's lumpy frosting. I don't care though, because these lumps are good lumps.
The cream cheese.
I should rename this. I'm going to rename this Keto Lumpy Dumpy Donuts.
Lumpy Dumpy.
Phone charge time. All right. Send out good vibes. The phone starts charging, everybody, because we're down to 20%. That's why I'm trying to be quick. Oh, damn it, it's not. It's so hot. I can feel how hot it is. Oh, it's charging. It's charging.
Chicken thighs with Polish potato seasoning mix is almost KFC flavour with no wheat crumbs. Yeah, okay.
Just another bowl to clean. There's so many friggin' bowls.
I don't know where I could possibly get Polish potato seasoning.
What are you talking about? Polish potato?
Ruth reckons that Polish potato seasoning on chicken thighs tastes almost like KFC.
You'd probably have a better chance of getting that in Sydney than I would down here.
Possibly. I'm just not quite sure where, though.
No, I don't know
5-kilometre radius lockdown area in any case, so something to think about later down the track.
Yeah. It's a good suggestion. We might have to order it online through Amazon or something.
Yeah. Actually, there was an ingredient that I've never been able to find. Was it oat fibre? A couple of recipes had oat fibre, and I've not seen that around anywhere.
I use bran or bran.
Oh, okay.
Just going to tap the donuts out of the pan so they can cool down a bit. Then we want to dip them in that beautiful Philly frosting. I mean, who doesn't love a Philly frosting? That's why carrot cake's so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're popping straight out.
Ooh.
Let's do them upside down. Hey,
That's the presentation side. That's the money shot.
it is. It's the money shot. They smell good. Hey, Cody, how you doing? Oat bran. Yeah, I couldn't find oat bran either. I used all bran, which is well, it's bran, isn't it?
Yeah. I just bypassed the recipe. I thought I can't remember what it might have been. One of the pizza bases, maybe. I don't know. But I figured, look, if I can't find it, just don't worry about it. There's so many recipes on Diet Doctor anyway to not worry about one recipe with an ingredient that you can't grab.
Tell me they don't look like gorgeous donuts.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Let me just make the chocolate drizzle.
I have to admit, the amount of time that I've been on keto, the idea of getting home delivery Krispy Kreme donuts has been at the forefront of my mind. But I've steer cleared of it. So
while my donuts are
that's
cooling
why I'm
down,
really intrigued, because this could be the keto. I loved pizza. Absolutely adore pizza. Adore making it. Dad was a baker. I loved the process of making dough and all the rest of it. And the keto pizza just eliminates that craving straight away.
Oh, gotcha.
When I have it and make it. And the other thing also is it's so much quicker. You don't have to sit around waiting for hours for the dough to rise.
And yeah, I know. It's amazing.
You just whip it together, 10 minutes in the oven, bring it out, put the topping on, another 10, 15 minutes, and bang, there's your pizza.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you're right. I mean, things like that certainly helped me with cravings, which is why when I was reading about, if you go to the pub and order a burger, just get it without the bun. Admittedly, I did do southern fried, but when I was doing keto, I missed crunchy textures, and that's why I went low carb, just so I could have panko breadcrumbs occasionally. All right.
Yeah, look, I do miss it. Sometimes I just, think, gee, it'd be nice to have a fresh sandwich with sourdough or, Aruba, something like that. But I don't know. I've just got to the point now. I've done so well. I swear I've lost about 25 to 30 kilos.
Which is incredible.
Because, I mean, oh man, I was big at the height of the first lockdown. I just went straight to comfort food. It was like I was in baking heaven. There was nothing else to do. So bake, eat.
Yep.
Chips, Allen's lollies, lots of Netflix.
Look at you now.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I've shifted any weight, but I think the bonus for me, 12 weeks into lockdown, I don't think I've put a lot of weight on. Probably only about 3 or 4 kilos.
Right.
And it fluctuates, I'll take it off. I might put it back on again. I'll take it off. But I'm not constantly gaining weight and getting to that really, really horrible weight for me. It was just...
Look how far you come, beautiful boy. A few kilos back on doesn't matter. You lost like the equivalent of a small kid, a 10-year-old kid. Just so everyone knows, I'm mixing together 2 tablespoons of once again, the monk fruit and a tablespoon of cocoa powder. Now, they did say unsweetened. I've got cocoa powder in my pantry. I'm using it. It is Cadbury. It is sweetened. I don't give a fuck. I'm a rebel. And I've also melted 3 tablespoons of butter. And this is going to make up our chocolate drizzle.
Oh,
which is optional. You don't have to do the drizz, but as if Tori wouldn't, right? See, keto, you can have chocolate.
Yeah, my chocolate cake smells pretty damn fine, I must admit. and the smell of it when I was making it. There was a lot of cocoa in it.
Yeah, you don't feel like you miss out. That's what I loved about keto, and also how
No.
full of things are. Like the meal planner I love on their website, but I quite
Yeah.
often would just have a keto coffee or something in the morning. I couldn't do the breakfast and the lunch and the dinner. It was too much.
No.
Too
No,
much.
I might have breakfast in the morning, which consists of a couple of eggs or scrambled eggs, or eggs, eggs and cheese. But I very rarely have lunch.
Well, I was the opposite. Because the other thing which people might be interested in too is keto actually supports the whole fasting concept, and there are people that only eat between midday and 8 p.m. They're totally down with that. They're down with 5-2, like all those different diets that certain people do. You can do that and do keto at the same time. Keto is not really a diet. It's just a way of eating that isn't traditional in terms of how we were raised. There just isn't potato on your plate every night and bread in your lunchbox at lunchtime, really. It's and also the higher fat content, because, we all had parents that were told fats are bad and all the rest of it. So I'm just getting ready to dress these little mofos. Oh, I've come to the end of my baking paper. This is so I can make a little bit of mess.
And the whole point of the fats is to satisfy you. You don't get to this point where your body feels like it's in starvation mode. Your body will process the fats because you're not. Ooh,
That didn't work.
that hasn't worked well, has it? That's
They
a
might.
bit.
Look, they're still too warm. I already know that. But I'm just going to put it on with a knife. You really would want to let these chill. Like, you can see it's melting. I just want to make one for a taste test. God damn it.
Yeah.
Actually, hang on, what I'll do. They haven't cooled down, but I'm going to do something a little bit cheeky. This will probably sit a little bit better on this side, just to give you an idea of what they're going to be like. So, but normally when they're cooled down, you literally could dunk these into the frosting and it will stick to it. But they're still warm, so that's what happened there. But I'm just going to try to make them as cute as I can, or this little one. Bearing in mind there's a race against the clock because it's melting the frosting, but it's looking all right so far. Go, Tori, go. Come on, encourage me, Glenn.
Go, go, go.
Thank you, mate. That was awesome.
It's looking like a bagel almost.
Hey, no, you've got to pretend it's turned up the other way and it looks like the perfect donut. Pretend it's this donut.
Yeah.
It just was easier to stick it on the cakey bit because it can sink in a bit.
Yeah.
And this is purely for theatrics and also so you can all hear me do the taste test. But I've learned my lesson. Next time I'm going to, I will melt the butter at the start. All right. And then for the grand finale, the chocolate drizzle.
Whoa.
Somebody said, Marco Chinko said, chocolate drizzle is not optional in my house. They're like coconut macaroons with holes. Come on, guys. The other one looked like a donut. This is so I can make one and end this friggin' live and let you all get on with your lives. Look at that. Focus on him. These are hot still.
Yeah.
Upside down that way, it meant there's a cake surface, a little, and it's melting. So before it's completely melted.
Whoa.
Drizzle however you want. Be arty. Go nuts. I've kind of gone a bit crazy. I probably would actually I've got a little baking syringe-y thing. I probably would have just done some streaks, but I can't be fucked. I want to taste this fucker.
Yeah.
Oh, you were thinking of the flavour roots. All right, well, I'll let you know right now. Oh, man.
That looks cakey.
Well, it's an old-fashioned keto cake donut. So here we go. It doesn't taste like a donut. It tastes like a cake.
Right.
But not in a bad way. I mean, cakes are good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it is like a coconut cake. The cream cheese frosting is melting a bit, so it's not as thick as it would be like on top of a carrot cake. So I definitely would say let them cool properly before you put the frosting on, because the frosting is ace. The bomb. Where I did fuck up for me, but probably not for other people, depending on whether you like sweet or savoury, there were 2 tablespoons of the monk fruit sugar sweetener. And then I did use the sweetened cocoa, and the chocolate drizzle's too sweet. It's edible. I'm going to eat it, but it's sweeter than I would like. So when they said unsweetened, they were being smart, because there's already quite a bit of sweetener in it. But the cake itself is actually really fluffy and tasty. It's very coconutty. And yeah, the only difference is I would it's a pretty good looking little treat. You get to have one of these as your little afternoon snack or whatever. So yeah, I'd melt the butter next time. But the cake itself is really fluffy, very coconutty. Doesn't taste like a donut. It does taste like cake, but it looks like a donut. So
that'd do me.
So I'm going to give this one probably an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 actually, only because I've over-sweetened it and I was impatient and didn't let it cool down to put the frosting on. The frosting is my favourite part, but because it's melted a little bit into the cake, it's lost its impact, and the rest of them, I'm just going to put the frosting. I'm not going to bother with the drizzle because it's too sweet for me. But if you love sweet,
go for it.
You'll love it. Just trying to find my drink. Here it is. So there you go, the lasagna, Glenn. Thank you for suggesting that, because I reckon that's an absolute winner.
Great. Yes.
I'm excited about having that for dinner with a salad.
A little bit of
your chocolate cake, you're not going to try it?
Oh, yes.
And yeah, the cake donuts, I definitely want to try them again, but with the melted butter at the start and without the chocolate drizzle, or just a dark chocolate drizzle, like a dark cocoa that isn't sweetened. But yeah, I didn't have any. I used to. I don't know where it's gone. I like a bitter hot chocolate with a bit of chili in it. So yeah, the donut's 7, but they've got room to move up to 8 or 9 or even 10. And now that I have a donut pan, I will have to dig up. I've got recipes somewhere. They're Donna Hay recipes for donuts with activated yeast and everything, and I'll definitely have a crack at those before I go back on keto for a little while. Yeah, definitely try the lasagna. It's fabulous.
I'm not going to go full bore and do cream and berries, so I'm just going to whack a little bit of ice.
We can visualize your toppings.
Yeah.
Wash it down with the ginger beer, then tell me what you think. What, have another mouthful? I'm having a bit with less chocolate on it.
I just grabbed my glasses.
I actually killed it with chocolate. Without the chocolate, that's my perfect donut. It's not crazy sweet. He doesn't like a Philadelphia frosting. like you get on top of a carrot cake, like hello. So yeah, I'd make it again. I just wouldn't bother with the the drizz.
So there you go.
Oh, that's very pretty.
Even got a little cake fork.
You have. You're a very elegant man. Seems like a happy face right there.
That is really chocolatey.
Yum.
Again, it's more brownie consistency than cake, so it's quite dense. But
yeah, I'm more of a brownie girl than a cake girl anyway.
Me too. Although well, I haven't had cake for such a long time. I mean, this is.
Well, you can now have a old-fashioned keto cake donut.
Yeah, but this pulled together so easily.
Yeah.
There was no like butter or oil or anything in it so a lot of dry ingredients and just a bit of almond milk, 3 eggs. That was it, really.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, but this, who can go past Cadbury's cocoa, really?
Oh, did you use Cadbury's cocoa as well?
But unsweetened.
Oh, I didn't know they made such a thing. That seems like it should be a criminal offence.
You'd think so, but yeah, no, they do.
Well, I'll be looking out for some when I next go down the cocoa aisle. Because yeah, you can't go past Cadbury. Although I had a beautiful Belgian 80% dark chocolate cocoa that was divine. Yum. Yum.
That's the bomb.
Yeah, well, I used the actual real bomb, which is the one that's sweetened, but that's been quite an effort. You've hung out with me for 3 hours, Glenn, and we've cooked 3 different keto dishes.
Well, we were being rather optimistic, I think, and in our menu, getting
we
2
were,
dishes.
I know. It was only after we set the menu that I looked at it and went, holy shit. Actually, there's a lovely message from El Marco Chinko. Thank you both so much for keeping me company on this lockdown Sunday afternoon. It really made a difference to my day. Cheers. Thank you. That's exactly why I like going live on YouTube. Last year, reaching out to people that were in lockdown around the world and giving them, that's why I take people for walks on the beach and drives around Tassie. And even if I'm just driving home from work, I'll go live because somebody might just feel like a bit of company. So thank you so much, El Marco, because that's exactly what I like doing this channel. That's the whole reason I do it. Even pre-COVID, a lot of my subscribers have got illnesses. A lot of them are housebound anyway. So this social media platform is a great way to share the world with people that aren't fortunate enough to get out and see it themselves. So, Glenn, you're a champ. This was really fun. I did have an idea while we were cooking that we should do it again really soon. And I thought perhaps we could do a keto, like you could do a keto something and then I'll do a non-keto version.
Oh, all right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So like if you chose it, although pizza,
there is a keto version. It's there's a lot of recipes.
Well, keto, the beauty with keto is if you're making a casserole and you want some rice with it and you're not keto, you still make the casserole and then just cook a tiny bit of rice. If you want to have a bit of bread, do one of the burgers and pop it in some bread. If you want to have your eggs and bacon with some toast, like you can eat keto foods and flavors. And you wouldn't, people that eat carbs every day wouldn't want to eat keto with it all the time because it's too much food and it's too rich.
Yeah.
But, if you're not a keto person, it doesn't hurt you to eat keto food occasionally, just like it doesn't hurt to have a vegetarian dish or a vegan dish.
Yeah, as I say, look, honestly, the diet doctor's just been a whirlwind blessing because there are so many recipes to choose from.
Yeah.
And if you're really getting a little bit run down with the the strict keto, they've got the low carb recipes, which are just as
beautiful. And that's where I spend most of my time doing my meal planning, is in the low carb section. I just want to do a bit of, well, I don't know, actually, I might stay low carb because I'm starting to ride like 18 Ks a day at the gym on this bike class that I'm so addicted to. And it's it's all done by, it's computer graphics, and we drive through country or ride through countries all over the world. We're in Turkey today, and go through like New Orleans, and it's so much fun. But with keto, I've got to remember, when I first started it, you can't do like hardcore exercise when you first start it. You can only do like moderate walking. Do you remember that? For like half an hour a day.
Honestly, that was the whole point of me getting onto keto, because with my back issues, massive kind of exercise just wasn't in the picture.
Anyway, yeah.
And no, and that was half my struggle with my doctor, saying, I'm really struggling. This idea of calories in, calories out. It would have to be at a point where I wasn't eating anything, because I wasn't able to really burn a lot of the calories that I was consuming.
And that's what's great about keto, because you eat it, you can't exercise more than half an hour, really, like not even moderate, low exercise a day, and you lose weight.
I know.
Which is amazing.
I stopped fixating about checking the bloody weight on the scales. It's like, I know how I feel.
Yep.
And in some ways, I've slipped into clothes I haven't worn for freaking years.
Yeah. And how good does that feel?
It does. But when you step on the scales, the scales don't necessarily equate to the fact that you can fit back into clothes that you never were able to for a great period of time.
Correct. So you should always go by how your clothes fit. Don't ever weigh yourself. Always, if you put on some pants that were really tight and you couldn't even pull them up over your kneecaps 2 years ago, and you get them up, you've lost weight. End of story. Deb also said she loved watching it, cheered her up today. That's awesome, Deb. El Marco Chinko says, I agree with you. Keto mixed diet idea, just healthy eating. It is exactly that. And last note from Ruth, Glenn, you can get Primax seasoning in Australia through ludwigandson.com.au. That'll be that Polish seasoning. So you can start making your own KFC at home. Yeah, scales do only mention one dimension. So on that note, I hope that Glenn and Mark in particular, or Marco Chinko, I hope that you are both allowed to frolic out in the wild again very soon. But I also want to say we're all really proud of the effort that the majority of people around Australia are making to try and get this under control. So great effort. It's certainly acknowledged and recognised in other parts of the country. And we really miss you. So we want it to work so we can all jump on planes and see each other again sooner rather than later. Thank you to everyone who jumped in as well from chat, people from all over the world, which is always wonderful. And, the links to everything that Glenn and I made today are in the description. And until next time, look after yourself, stay safe, everybody, and happy cooking. And Glenn in particular, thank you so, so much. I hope this is, I know that we're both going to log off and go, fuck, my kitchen's a mess. But
whatever.
Thank you.
As you say, I'm not going anywhere fast, so.
No, thank you so much for hanging out. It was lots and lots of fun. And
it's been a blast.
Let's try and do it again very soon. And there's a lot of love being poured on you from chat for you too, Glenn, in chat. So let me know. Thank you for reaching out too. It was, when you sent me that message, I'm like, well, why don't we cook again? So
I felt like years ago.
It did, but good on you for reaching out, and lockdown is really tough on people. For you to be messaging and being really frank about your experience, and I'm not saying anything that Glenn there's no secret or anything like that. He wasn't on the edge of on his windowsill or anything like that, but just how much it's a struggle and how hard it is. And, you know, it becomes Groundhog Day. So thank you too for reaching out and inspiring me to say, why don't we just go live on YouTube again and have some fun?
Excellent.
Love you, mate. And
Love you too.
see you very, very soon. And everyone, you've got to, if you don't want to try the donuts, I get it. Definitely do the cake because that sounds wicked, but you really have to try the lasagna with the purple, rubbery, weird, but really delicious thing. See you soon, everybody. Take care out there. Love, love. Bye.